Hey friends, I'm Lia Scholl, pastor of First Friends meeting here in beautiful Greensboro, and I'm grateful that you've taken some time to be here today. Today's message is called Don't You Worry About a Thing, and it's based on Matthew chapter 6. So be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. In about 1997, I traveled with a group of fellow church members to Belize. We were doing a short-term mission trip, and it was pretty early in that whole idea of short-term missions. After a couple of days of rest and relaxation in the beautiful beaches, we headed inland to work. At the time, I was apprenticing to a home renovator, so my plan was to join a construction team rebuilding homes after a terrible storm. We traveled to Orange Walk, Belize. It's a border town with Mexico. It was, at the time, a drop-off point for drug traffickers in the mid-90s. The guidebook said, whatever you do, don't spend the night in Orange Walk. But if you must, don't spend the night in Orange Walk. But if you really, really, really must, stay at this hotel. Now, it was my first visit to a developing country, and I can tell you that the dirt roads, walled houses, and spiked fences made me feel claustrophobic and terribly afraid. And this part of Belize was pretty violent, so everyone carried a weapon, a machete, a big knife, or a shotgun. That too made me feel nervous and afraid. And to top it all off, the hotel where we were staying, well, the air in my room was out in July. The toilets smelled of sulfur and they burped periodically, and there were bugs. Listen, y'all, if you can't tell by now, I'm a bit of an unhappy camper. I like camping in 4-star hotels. And if that wasn't enough, the very mean Southern Baptist missionary would not allow women to work construction because he said it would confuse the nationals. By the way, he treated them like they were stupid, which was really offensive. Instead, I was in what felt like a godforsaken place in a terrible motel, and I had to work with children who I knew nothing about, and who didn't speak English. It was a mess. On the second morning, I woke the pastor up at 5 a.m. and told him I needed to be airlifted out of there. Not one of my proudest moments. He said, give it a day if you must, and if you must, we'll get you home tomorrow. Then we went to church, where the service was completely in Spanish. So I picked up my Bible and I read these words. Do not be worried about your life as to what you will eat or what you will drink, nor for your body as to what you will put on. Is life not more than food, and the body more than clothing? It was one of those moments in my life that I heard Spirit whisper so clearly what I was to do, or maybe even better, what I was not to do. I stopped worrying and I started working. I ended up loving working with the children, remembering a little Spanish from high school and college, and becoming a support and leader of the rest of the team. There are times that putting worry away can help you get about the work of the day. It seems to me, though, that these verses have been used to encourage toxic positivity, that sort of fake it till you make it positivity that cuts you off from the full range of emotions. Not just a refusal to complain, but an insistence that everything is great. It's just great. It's like the meme of the dog sitting in a cafe having a cup of coffee while the whole place is burning down and saying, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. Y'all, there are a lot of things to worry about right now. I did a little crowdsourcing on my Facebook page this week about what people are worried about. Some of the responses really took my breath away, like this one from a friend from the Poor People's Campaign. I'm worried that the human race will kill itself before even the climate has a chance to. And another, overall numbness and constant renormalization to austerity, pain, violence in the United States, the mass frustrations around pandemic, police brutality, mass shootings, climate change, etc., just continue to get more normalized. And another, I am so concerned that our inability as a society to confront our past makes us incapable to face the problems in this current moment. And then there was the globalist of worrying that other folks said: climate change, gun violence, grocery prices, the demise of democracy, COVID, and healthcare. And then a personal list. One friend said she was worried about her brother who's just been diagnosed with dementia. Several parents said, my children always, even when their children are doing well. And others said the health of individual family members. And then some were worried about really personal things, their own health. We are a worried people living in a worrisome time. These concerns are very real. And so, what shall we do with Jesus's words? Do not be worried about your life as to what you will eat or what you will drink, nor for your body as to what you will put on. Is life not more than food, and the body not more than clothing? This is why context is so important when reading the Bible. This statement of not worrying about a thing is in a long list of ways to be. Let me show you. The Sermon on the Mount starts with the Beatitudes, salt and light, which we talked about last week. And then Jesus talks about the law and its role, and about how our emotions impact following the law. It goes something like this: you heard how the law says, do not kill, but I say, don't be angry. And the law says, do not commit adultery, and I say, do not lust in your heart. Those are the don'ts of the Sermon on the Mount. And then Jesus goes to the do's. Do give things to others, but do it in a way that doesn't bring attention to yourself. Do pray, but do it in a way that doesn't bring attention to yourself. Forgive others, and don't put your hope in possessions. That's when we hear, don't worry. And rather than being a screed on worry, it's really just Jesus's gentle reminder that God is on our side. It's not so much about what not to do, but about who's got you. Consider the lilies. Doesn't God take care of them? Consider the birds in the air. Doesn't God take care of them? And doesn't God care so much more for you than the lilies and the birds in the air? That to me is the thing. Y'all, we are gonna worry. There's a lot to be worried about. But when you're spiraling, when you're overwhelmed, maybe you can hear the whisper of spirit. Don't you worry about a thing. And if you can't hear the spirit whisper that, maybe, just maybe, we can whisper it to one another. Don't you worry about a thing. God is right by your side. Don't you worry about a thing. Amen. Amen.